They say the world ignores good men. But why? Why does kindness so often turn into weakness in the eyes of others, while cruelty, arrogance, and indifference seem to command more respect? Pause for a moment. Imagine a man who bends, who gives, who tries to please, yet the more he offers, the less he is valued. He becomes invisible, forgotten, a shadow in his own life. And here's the unsettling truth. People don't chase what is easily given. They only crave what stands firm, what resists, what cannot be bent. In this video, we will enter the mind of the Stoics, men who mastered the art of strength without cruelty, power without arrogance, control without losing compassion. What they discovered will not just change how others see you, it will change how you see yourself. So, if you're ready to uncover why good men get ignored and what the ancients did instead to become unforgettable, then stay until the end. Because once you hear this, you'll never look at yourself or the people around you the same way again. Subscribe now so you don't miss the wisdom that could turn your weakness into unshakable strength. Think about this. How many times have you seen a man who gives everything, his time, his love, his loyalty, yet still ends up ignored? He is the one who replies first, the one who says yes when his heart screams no, the one who bends so much that eventually he breaks. And here's the cruel part. People don't respect him for it. They don't admire his endless giving. They take, and then they move on. Why? Because when a man is too good, he no longer feels real. He loses the edge that makes others feel his presence. The Stoics understood this danger. Seneca once warned, "You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire." What did he mean? That fear of rejection makes us overgive. We think that by being endlessly nice, we will be safe. But in reality, it makes us invisible. Pause here. Ask yourself, have you ever felt that sting? That silent dismissal when your kindness wasn't enough? When your voice, no matter how soft or patient, was drowned out by the louder, colder, harsher voices of others? It hurts. It feels unfair. But here's the truth. The world does not reward desperation. The world rewards presence, strength, restraint, the courage to hold back when others beg you to give more. And this is where the Stoics walked a different path. They didn't fight for validation. They didn't beg to be seen. They anchored themselves so deeply in self-control that the world couldn't ignore them even if it tried. Their silence carried more weight than another man's endless words. Their refusal to chase made others turn toward them. Now let me leave you with a question that will haunt your mind until the next chapter. If being too good makes us invisible, then what must we become to finally be seen? Stay with me, because once you know the answer, you'll understand why the Stoics never chased, and why, in the end, everything chased them. Respect. Everyone wants it. Few understand it, and fewer still are willing to walk the path it demands. The truth is this: respect is not handed out like a gift. It isn't earned through favors, or by always being agreeable, or by lowering yourself so that others feel taller. Respect is carved out of the way you carry yourself. It's born from silence when others beg for noise, from discipline when the world drowns in temptation, from saying no when everyone else is desperate to say yes. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Notice the weight in those words. He's telling us that respect begins not in how others treat us, but in how we govern ourselves. Think about it. How can the world take you seriously if you don't even take your own principles seriously? And this is where most good men collapse. They mistake being liked for being respected. They think if they're always kind, always present, always available, then admiration will follow. But it doesn't. Instead, they find themselves discarded, like tools used and forgotten. Let me ask you something. Which man leaves a deeper mark? The one who is always around, always bending, always trying to win approval? Or the one who stands his ground, even when it costs him? You already know the answer. The man who refuses to break becomes unforgettable. His presence lingers. His absence is felt. He doesn't chase respect. He commands it, because his self-control forces others to adjust to him. Now here's where the darkness creeps in. People will test you. They will push, provoke, and tempt you, waiting for you to slip. And when you do, they will know they own you. But if you don't, if you hold your ground in silence, in restraint, in calm defiance, they become unsettled. They start thinking about you when you're not even there. And here's the question that will haunt you until the next chapter. What if the real power was never in being liked, but in being impossible to ignore? Stay with me, because once you see how the Stoics turned restraint into power, you'll never look at human respect the same way again. Think about the last time you lost control. Maybe it was anger. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the desperate urge to prove yourself. In that moment, you felt alive, but afterward, you felt weak, empty, almost ashamed. Because deep down, we know this. When our emotions rule us, we lose all power. The Stoics built their entire lives around this truth. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Let those words sink in. Freedom doesn't come from money, or status, or even being admired. Freedom begins when you are no longer a slave to your emotions. Imagine it. Someone insults you, yet you remain calm. Someone rejects you, yet you don't shatter. Someone tries to provoke you, yet you stand unmoved. That is not weakness. That is power. A kind of power most people never reach because they are too busy reacting. And here's the part most men ignore. When you show that you can't be rattled, people start to shift around you. Your silence becomes heavier than another man's shouting. Your calmness becomes more intimidating than another man's rage. It's unsettling to them. It makes them think. It makes them remember you. That's why self-control is not just a private virtue. It's a weapon, a silent, invisible force that bends the world in your favor. So let me leave you with a question that should haunt your thoughts tonight. If self-control makes others bend toward us, why do so many still choose to shatter at the first test? Stay with me, because in the next chapter we will expose why strength is not shown in words or in muscles, but in something far more terrifying: strength. We're taught to picture it as muscle, as volume, as dominance. But real strength is often invisible. It hides in silence. It hides in the moments when you don't react, the moments when you could explode, but you choose restraint instead. The Stoics understood this. They knew that power without control was chaos, and chaos, sooner or later, destroys itself. Picture a man who screams when he's challenged, who lashes out the moment he feels threatened. On the surface, he looks powerful, but beneath it, he is fragile. He is desperate to prove what he himself doesn't believe. Now picture the opposite, the man who doesn't need to shout, who doesn't rush to prove his worth. He stands calm while others unravel. Which of the two would you remember? Which would you fear losing? Which would you respect? The answer is clear. The man who doesn't need the world is the one the world cannot ignore. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Do you see it now? Strength isn't what they tell you it is. It isn't loud. It isn't desperate. It isn't thirsty for attention. True strength is terrifying because it doesn't need to be seen. It doesn't chase validation. It waits, and when the world finally realizes it cannot move you, that's when it begins to orbit around you. But here's the unsettling question you must carry into the next chapter. If invisible strength is the only kind that lasts, then why do so many still waste their lives chasing the strength that vanishes? Stay close, because in the next chapter we reveal how the Stoics turned this invisible power into influence that no one could escape. Influence is a strange thing. Most people think it comes from shouting the loudest, from being seen everywhere, from forcing others to notice them. But that kind of influence fades quickly. It's smoke in the wind. The Stoics knew a different kind, the kind that seeps into the mind silently, the kind that lingers even when you're not in the room, the kind that makes people wonder about you when they should have forgotten you. Think about it. A man who is desperate to be noticed burns out fast. He tries too hard, and in the end, people see through him. But a man who is calm, composed, self-contained, that man becomes a mystery, and mystery is unforgettable. Seneca once said, "He who has great power should use it lightly." Why? Because restraint creates weight. The more you hold back, the more others lean in. They study your silence. They question your calmness. They start to chase the very presence you never offered. And that is how influence is born, not in chasing attention, but in creating a void others cannot stand to leave empty. Now, let me ask you this. What's more powerful, to be everywhere and easily forgotten, or to be rare and impossible to erase from someone's mind? The answer is obvious, but most men ignore it. They choose noise over silence, speed over patience, weakness over mastery, and in doing so, they lose the one thing that could have made them unforgettable. So here's the dark truth to carry with you. If you dare to master yourself, others will have no choice but to feel your presence, even in your absence. And in the next video, we will reveal the exact Stoic practices that turn this invisible influence into a force so strong, people won't just notice you. They won't be able to escape you,